Wait. Good afternoon. Synthetic Genetics here to make another video for a custom card and one of our Kickstart backers. So, that is Synthetic Genetics, typically take the weekends off. And Sunday, I spent like 5 hours making a video for the event we had this past weekend, which I think was pretty awesome. It seems like everybody had a good time. And I had tickled around with the notion that I might take today off because of that, but I had an idea for a card that I have to do, so here we are. This one again will be going towards Heel Hook, one of our martial arts style cards. I'll be honest, I had the idea for it, the notion last night, and that's all I've got, just that notion. So we're gonna build off that as we go. Um, so yeah, let's do this. We will not only be posting the video on YouTube today for anybody who cares to watch it, but afterwards I'm going to use my newfound editing video skills to create a shorter version that we can put on TikTok because another one of our big pledgers had insisted that we do TikTok, and because that pledger pledged what they did, we feel obligated to do that. So that's where we're going next. Now, admittedly, that same individual might enjoy this particular card because I feel like we've made jokes about what I'm about to reference in times past. Let's see how that goes. Now, I'm going to give a bit of it away by talking about Kumite, if anybody knows what that is. Um, but last evening, some friends of mine and I were playing video games, and we talked about movies that we love that are a bit dated at this point. And there was a particular actor that came up in conversation, JeanClaude Van Damme, who was one of my favorite action stars. I actually liked him a lot more than Sylvester Stallone. Now, don't get me wrong, not that I have anything against Sylvester Stallone. I think the guy is kind of a genius. Like, I didn't realize that he had written the Rocky movies when I watched them as a kid, but as an adult, going back, like they're really engaging, and he makes a character that is very, what's what I'm looking for? Someone that's easy to sympathize with, a very good hero that people can get behind. But as far as like actually watching someone do fight scenes, I felt like Jean-Claude Van Damme was kind of the best for his era. Take a look here. But he was also known for like every movie he was in, at some point doing a naked butt shot, which I always thought was funny because it's like you see all these movies as a kid, especially as a guy, and you see like horror movies and fighter movies and like what are supposed to be or what were then the gender normative uh, preferences of movies. So it was before I was old enough to start like really appreciating romantic comedies like I do now, or just comedy movies, or uh, I don't want to say noir because that's inaccurate, but movies that are just kind of like a really dark humor. Anyways, that was a development of taste over time. But you'll recall that when you would watch like the action movies, the horror movies, the ones that boys were supposed to watch, that kind of thing, there was always like these super hot chicks. And admittedly, at the time, it was like, yeah, I love hot girls. Let me see that. I remember once I watched this super creepy horror movie where you see a boob, and in that particular movie, within like 3 minutes of that, you see a girl's face like covered with this black tar substance that's like eating her flesh. But I used to rewind from that scene back over and over and over again to see that girl's boobs. So just put that out there. At any rate, I remember when my mom would hang out with this friend of hers, and they would talk about Jean-Claude Van Damme movies and how much of a nice butt he had. And it wasn't until that moment that it occurred to me that in like every movie he's in, at least it feels that way, there was a scene where he would get naked and have a butt shot, or he would have a scene where he was wearing like super, super tight pants and he would do the splits and just show off that derriere. So this is where we're going with that. This is Jean-Claude Van Damme. Kumite is a reference to a movie he was in called Bloodsport that was part of the conversation I had with my friends last night, which reminded me of how much I used to love his movies. Because again, I felt personally that he was again the strongest action star or the best martial artist action star at the time. And don't get me wrong, like I loved Arnold Schwarzenegger, really did. Uh, but his fight scenes weren't that great. Plus, I remember once looking at, I think there was an interview or I saw him in a video or something, and I realized that he was the same height that I was, which was like 5'8", maybe 5'9". And in all the movies that he's in, they always put him on these super thick-soled boots, so he looked a lot taller than he was. And for some reason, that just was extremely unappealing to me. That kind of thing had to be considered. That was part of the action star motif. Like you had to be huge. And one of the things I liked about Jean-Claude Van Damme is that he didn't. Like he was a smaller guy, and that was one of the cool things about him. It's like when you watch, oh, what was that other one that he was in? Universal Soldier, and he goes up against Dolph Lundgren, and it's kind of a David versus Goliath situation because clearly Dolph was huge by comparison, which I think was one of the points they tried to play to in the movie. Maybe. I don't know, maybe it was just one of those happy accidents, one of those serendipities that I've heard so much about. Too much? Yeah, too much. But anyways, so as a kid, like I was a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan for various reasons. I also loved his accent. Um, for those of you who either know me or watched the most recent video that we placed, uh, when I was younger, I freaking loved accents and aspired to get reasonable. Why am I doing this? Reasonably decent with all of them, as best I could at any rate. But a couple things happened over the years. One, I remember I was hanging out with this guy, Adam, and he was a bit older than I was, but he was like a hardcore punker, and I liked him a lot. And we were hanging out, and sometimes when I would get uncomfortable or feel socially inadequate, I would start doing the accent. So we're hanging out one day, and I start doing an accent, and he calls me out on it, and he's like, "Why do you do that? Like, you don't have to do that to try to make yourself more interesting." And I explained in the moment, I was like, "Well, I do it when I get uncomfortable, but part of the reason I do it is just because it's something I enjoy doing, you know?" And it's one of the few times in my life that someone's given me shit for doing it in that particular respect. Like he nailed it on the head. And it was kind of interesting. It's one of the aspects of his personality I liked was that he nailed that question. Was like, why are you doing that? You don't have to be something you're not to try to be cool. Just be yourself. It's effectively where he was going with it. Um, but anyway, so I love to do accents. Going back to the original point, and uh, Jean-Claude Van Damme's was one that I just could not ever really master. All right, so in case anybody's wondering, these are butt cheeks. That's him doing the splits. Typically, he does it on two raised platforms. Don't get me wrong, there are scenes in movies where he does the splits on the ground, but 9 times out of 10, that glorified butt shot involves that ass being suspended, so he has to be on a raised platform of some kind. I remember the first time I saw this movie, or rather, I remember some of the thoughts I used to have when I would watch like the 80s, 90s martial arts movies. Like, I need to move to Korea, Japan, China, because that is where you're gonna find some aged, forgotten, amazing martial artist who's gonna teach me the ways of the world and all this spiritual stuff. This is gonna make me a better person. And then as I got older, I met some kids and grown-ups that did martial arts stuff, and they were like, no. The spiritual thing was just like a big selling point with 80s and early 90s movies. That's not like a huge thing. Martial arts is really just about doing the work, getting the rope processes down. The rest of that stuff is up in the air. And don't get me wrong, there's obviously still something to it. Uh, we're not going to go down this road because my knowledge on the subject is severely limited. So, what things that I have opinions about, I can't really speak to in a way that doesn't make me feel like an idiot. So, we're going to just stop there. It also occurs to me as I look at this that Jean-Claude Van Damme's, uh, stick figure butt cheeks also kind of look like a little kid who's sitting down and I just haven't put something across his lap. So, maybe we should do something about that. There we go. That makes it kind of weird. But stick figure butt cheeks aren't really a thing. And I am not looking up a picture of Jean-Claude Van Damme's ass and then trying to actually model that into my medium, so to speak. I feel like that would be a terrible thing to do, so I'm not going to. 100%. I don't really know where I'm going with this outside of him having a victim or a defeated adversary. I think I also remember one time, I can't remember, and I could very much be wrong on this recollection, reading about how Jean-Claude Van Damme and the guy who played the character Chong Li, I don't know if that was his real name, I don't think it was. I really should have looked that up before I started this and had any commentary to offer on the subject. But I remember reading and thinking, or reading about how apparently they had a relationship as friends outside the movie, and I think it might have been like an entertainment kind of thing. I can't remember exactly, but the reason it's important is I remember that when I read it, I thought, man, they are just desperate for some kind of news. That movie's over a decade old. Oh my god, I just realized I am gonna have to look something up. I can't remember what style of supposed martial arts Jean-Claude Van Damme was supposed to have used in Bloodsport. And if anybody's wondering what the hell this stuff in the background is supposed to be, one, I apologize, but I was kind of hoping it would be a giveaway that it's supposed to be like a bamboo field, but no. Control C. But this is what we imagine Jean-Claude Van Damme does in Bloodsport after the Kumite is over. He just goes and does the split somewhere and stares out at a field of bamboo. All right. So we have thoughts on this, but all right. Wait, that's the wrong thing. 100%. See if this works. I feel like if this uh ever takes off, I'm gonna have to not only do like a separate expansion, but a whole separate game that's just a bunch of martial artist cards. Like this will have to be a focus. For anybody who watches the video on the premiere night this past Saturday, people are like pulling animal cards and they're pulling trait cards. And I love the idea of I'm gonna have to do like a hybrid, like you pull an animal card and it knows some type of martial arts. And I just love the idea of like a turtle knowing duck's Ryu Ninjutsu, which is the name of the martial arts that's used by Jean-Claude Van Damme in the movie. All right, so we'll leave that there, and then oh, and I did appreciate someone actually looked at I can't remember what medium that I'm sharing the cards on or the videos, but someone did call out the font that I use for up here sometimes because I switch it out from the Lucida Sans typewriter, and someone just sent a response. It was all caps, Papyrus, and I was like, "That's awesome that he knows his fonts." I thought it was pretty cool. All right, so that's what we're gonna do here because it fits the theme, I believe, kinda. You know what? No. Legend has it the shoots grow from the blood of his victims, and the bamboo is in fact representing the bars of their eternal prisons of regret. And shut up, I'm still wearing gloves. All right, and there we have it. All right, so after defeating his enemy, Jean-Claude Van Damme often does the splits in a serene environment surrounded by bamboo. Legend has it the shoots grow from the blood of his victims, and the bamboo is in fact representing the bars of their eternal prisons of regret. For having thought they could beat Jean-Claude Van Damme, which no one can beat Jean-Claude Van Damme. Idiots. So yeah, maybe I should stop laughing at my own jokes. But I like it, and I think it's something that our pledger, Kickstart backer, Heel Hook will enjoy. So we're gonna go ahead and save that, and then I'm gonna go post all this on various mediums. Again, if you want to hit those buttons that are super important, apparently. We are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and unfortunately, starting this past weekend, we were also on TikTok. Very mixed feelings about that. Although the videos we've put on there we find entertaining, and I've seen 1 out of 10 that doesn't make us want to punch ourselves in the face. So there's hope. 1 in 10, right? 10% chance. Could be good. Anyways, thanks for watching, and have a good one.